ಮೊದಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದೀನಿ ನಾನು ಬರೋದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಬರ್ರಿ, ಬರ್ದಕ್ಕ ಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರಬೇಡ್ರಿ. ಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಂದ್ರು ನನ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ದಂಗೆ ಬಂದ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರಿ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಮೋಷನ್ದಾಗ ಗಾಡಿ ಹೊಂಟಿದ್ ನಂದಿ, ಈಗ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಹಾಕಿರೋದು, ಇನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಟೈಮ್ ತಗೋತದೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬರು ಮುಂದ್ ಬಂದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಓದಿರಿ ಇದ್ದ, ಇವನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು ಇದ್ದ. ಅದಕ್ಕ ಮಿಸ್ ಬೇವ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಐತಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಒದರಾಟ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾರು ಕೇಳುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಕ್ಯಾಂಟೀನ್ ಬೇಕಾದ ಮಜಾ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ, ಯಾರು ಕೇಳುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದ್ದ ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಜಾ ಮಾಡಿರಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಜಾ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಂದಿ ನಾನು ಕಾಲೇಜ್. ನನ್ನ ಲೈಫನ್ನ ನೀವು ಏನು ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀನಿ. ಕರೆ ನಾ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರಿಗೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ತ್ರಾಸ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದು, ನೀವು ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಈಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎಂಜಾಯ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಯು ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಟು ದಿ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್, ಬಟ್ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬ್ ಅದರ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ? ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಯ್ತು? ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ. ನಾ ಬಿಕಾಮ್ 1 ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ನಾಗ ಅನ್ಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಬಿಕಾಮ್ 1 ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ನಾಗ ಹುಡುಗರಿಗೆ ಅನ್ಸ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು. ಬಿಕಾಮ್ ಫೈನಲ್ ಬನ್ನಿ ಅಂದ್ರ ಬಿಕಾಮ್ ಫೈನಲ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ನಾಗ ಹುಡುಗರು ನನಗೆ ಅನ್ಸ್ತಾರ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ಮೇನ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್. ಬಿಕಾಮ್ 1 ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ನಾಗ ನಾ ಹುಡುಗರಿಗೆ ಅನ್ಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಬಿಕಾಮ್ ಫೈನಲ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಹುಡುಗರೆಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಸ್ತಾರ. ಇಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ, ಹಿಂದಿನ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ನಾಗ. ಯಾಕಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರ ಬಿಕಾಮ್ 1 ಇದ್ದಾಗ ನನಗ ಬಿಕಾಮ್ 1ದವ್ರು ಯಾರು ಏನೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುದಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರು ಯಾವ ಲೆವೆಲ್ದಾಗ ಇದಾರ ಅನ್ನೋದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾ ಬಿಕಾಮ್ 1 ಹುಡುಗರ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಹೆದರ್ತೀನಿ. ಅವ್ರು ಬಿಕಾಮ್ 1 ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಕಾಮ್ ಫೈನಲ್ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಏನ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಇದಾರ, ಯಾವ ಅನ್ಸರ್ದವ್ರ ಇದಾರ, ಅವ್ರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ನಾನ್ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀನಿ. ನೀವೇನಿದ್ರಿ ನನಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿರ್ತತಿ. ನಿಮ್ನ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನನಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಕಾಮ್ ಫೈನಲ್ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ನಾ ಹೆದರುದಿಲ್ಲ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ನಿಮ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಏನೈತಿ, ನೀವ್ ಏನಿದ್ರಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಿಮ್ನ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ನನಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತೈತಿ. ಮತ್ ನಂದೊಂದು ವಿಚಾರ ಏನ್ ಹಾಕಿದಾರ, ಬಾವ್ಯಾಗ ನೀರ್ ಎಟ್ಟಿದ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ದ ಬಾವ್ಯಾಗ ನಾ ಎಂದೂ ಜಿಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತದೆ? interest, rate of interest. How to calculate it? First method I explained. The second method of interest. Sometimes they will give you a total amount of RPF. Okay. Then rate, they will give you the rate of interest. RPF, total RPF, accumulated RPF is 1 lakh. 1 lakh rupees the total accumulated balance of RPF, and interest is credited at the rate of 10%. Okay. Interest is credited at the rate of 10%. Then how to calculate the exempted and taxable interest? 1 lakh rupees is the accumulated balance, and interest is given by the RPF organization at the rate of 10%. Okay. If you calculate 10% of the accumulated balance, 10,000 is the interest. Then out of that 10,000, which is the exempted and which is taxable, you have to calculate. Okay. In this case, if the accumulated amount of RPF and rate of interest is given in the problem, then you take directly taxable amount of interest. You take directly taxable amount of interest. 10% is the rate. Out of 10%, 9.5% is exempted. Remaining 0.5% is taxable. Okay. So total accumulated amount is 1 lakh rupee. On 1 lakh rupee, you directly calculate 0.5%. That is the second method regarding RPF interest. Then the next point is perquisite. Okay, perquisite is nothing but it is the extra benefit or extra benefits or emoluments given by the employer to employee. According to section 17 subsection 2, the perquisite. The term perquisite is derived from the word per, which means the personal advantage. For the personal advantage of the employee, employer gives certain benefits. All the personal advantages or benefits given by employer to employee are called as perquisite. Okay. Salary is given for the service and wages are given for the wages. Then for the personal benefits or personal advantages of the worker, employer gives certain amount or certain benefits that may be in the form of cash or in the form of kind. Cash may be given or in the form of kind may be given. That is called as perquisite. Okay. So perquisite means personal advantages or benefit attached to the position of that person, assessee or office, may be in the form of cash or kind. That may be related with the office to complete the work efficiently and effectively. Employer may be provided certain advantages to the employee. That may be in the form of cash or in the form of kind. Okay, the perquisite may be defined as any casual emoluments, or benefit attached to an office or position in addition to salary and wages. Salary and wages are given for the service. Along with the salary and wages, any other casual emoluments are given in the casual form. The employer gives, that is called as perquisite. Okay. Then according to section 17 subsection 2, the term perquisite includes the following. The first is value of rent-free accommodation. The employer may provide rent-free accommodation to the employee. Okay. Employer may construct the building for the benefit of the employees, and that building may be provided to the employee by the employer without any rent. Without rent. That is called as rent-free accommodation provided by employer to employee. Okay. In the business premise itself or within the limit of the business area, he may construct and provide them. That rent-free accommodation may be provided with his own building, or the employer may take the building on rental base or lease base, and that building may be provided to employee. There are two conditions. There are two options. One option is employer construct the building, and that building is related to employer. Employer may give his own building to employee for residential purpose. This is the first. Or employer may take the building on rental base or lease base from the outsider, and that same building may be given to the employee for residential purpose. You remember two options. One is own building of the employer, another is rental building of the employer. And second is the value of concessional rent. First point is rent free, fully free. In some cases, employer takes a reasonable amount of rent. Employer takes reasonable amount of rent from the employee by giving certain concession. So first you calculate the rent-free accommodation. Okay, let us consider that is free. And out of that total amount, you deduct the rent charged by the employer. Whatever balance remains, that is called as concessional rent. Value of any the value of any concession in rent. I'll take the point in detail in the coming class. And third is any benefit given to employee at free of cost or concessional rates. The employer may give to his employee at free of cost any benefit. For example, watchman's facility, gardener facility, or the driver facility to the vehicle, or the cook to the employee. Like that, the facilities may be provided by the employer to employee. First is rent-free accommodation is important, and second, other benefits given by the employer to employee. Examples of that are, one is watchman for the house. residence. Then cook to the employee. To cook is the second example. And third is gardener. To maintain gardener or for upkeeping of garden related with the residence of the employee, not related to employer. Gardener may be provided. Watchman is the first, gardener is the second, cook is the third. Okay. Then chauffeur may be provided by the employer to employee. Car may be provided by the employer to the employee. Okay. Car expense fees may be paid by the employer to the employee. Like that, there are so many benefits provided by the employer to the employee. All the benefits comes under the perquisite. Okay. Perquisite. Then third is profit in lieu of salary. First point is salary point. Second point is perquisite. And third point is profit in lieu of salary. Profit in lieu of salary under section 17 subsection 3. 17 subsection 1 is related to salary. 17 subsection 2 is related to perquisite. And 17 subsection 3 is related with profit in lieu of salary. Okay. Profit in lieu of salary includes the following. Along with salary, some benefits are given, amount is given. That amount is called as salary. Sorry, profit in lieu of salary. First point is any amount. The amount of any compensation due or received by employee. Compensation given to employee by the employer. Salary is given. If there is any compensation is paid, if any compensation is paid by employer to employee, that is called as profit in lieu of salary. It may be as per the order of the court or it may be voluntarily. This is the first point. And second point is any payment due or received by employee from his employer exempt the following. Means some profit in lieu of salary are there. They are to certain extent exempted and certain extent taxable. I already explained regarding the gratuity. Exempted gratuity is there, taxable gratuity is there. Okay. Then next is exempted HRA is there, taxable HRA is there. House rent allowance, already solved the problems on these two. And third is exempted commuted pension. Exempted commuted pension is there. And next is exempted superannuation fund or retirement fund. After retirement, if the amount is paid by the employer as a superannuation fund, exempted part comes here. Sorry, exempted part and taxable part. Taxable part we cover in the profit in lieu of salary. Okay, these are the three aspects we have to cover in the income from salary. First point is related with salary. Second point is related to perquisite, and third point is related with profit in lieu of salary. The total of these three comes under the income from salary. Okay, there are so many points we cover in the salary, perquisite, and profit in lieu of salary. Then how to compute the income from salary? Okay, computation of gross salary or income from salary. The total of these three: salary as per section 17 subsection 1, then perquisite under section 17 subsection 2, and profit in lieu of salary section 17 subsection 3. Total of these three is called as gross salary. Gross salary. You see here. Salary under section 17 subsection 1. Perquisites under section 17 subsection 2. And third is profit in lieu of salary section 17 subsection 3. Total of these three is called as gross salary. Total of these three is called as gross salary. And in the gross salary, there is a deduction. Out of gross salary, income tax department permits you people to deduct certain amount of salary if you satisfy the given conditions. If you satisfy the given conditions, income tax departments permit you people to deduct certain amount of salary. That is called as deduction under section 16. Deduction under section 16. What are those deductions? The first deduction is entertainment allowance. Entertainment allowance received by the employee from the employer. Remember this. Entertainment allowance received by the employee from the employer is allowable deduction. And this entertainment allowance is to be taken as taxable income in the income from salary. First point, you have to take this. Remember this. Whatever I recorded here, entertainment allowance. This entertainment allowance is to be first taken in the salary point, above point. Okay, first you have to take in the salary as a part of salary. Then if you satisfy the conditions, then it is the allowable. Okay. Section 16 subsection 2. Before this, there was standard deduction. Section 16 subsection 1, that is cancelled. Section 16 subsection 1 was removed. Therefore, I am taken this section 16 subsection 2, entertainment allowance. Okay, entertainment allowance. Then second is professional tax or tax on employment. Professional tax or tax on employment paid to the government by the employee comes under section 16 subsection 3. These are the two allowable deductions to the assessee in case of salary. Out of gross salary, you deduct these two. Whatever remains, that is called as income from salary. Okay. You take the total of salary, perquisite, profit in lieu of salary. Out of that, you deduct two items. One is entertainment allowance if you fulfill the condition. Remember this. Okay. If you will not fulfill the condition, that is not an allowable deduction. Then second is professional tax or tax on employment. Professional tax or tax on employment is deducted in the salary by the government. Okay. These 2 points, you take the total. The total is called as deduction under section 16. You deduct that, and whatever remains, that is called as income from salary. In this way, you have to calculate the salary. Okay. Only 5 points are there. Okay. But the first point, salary, covers around about 10 to 15 points, and perquisite covers 10 to 15 points, and this profit in lieu of salary covers 5 to 7 points. Okay. And total seat is round about 20 to 30 points. This is regarding how to compute the gross salary and how to compute the income from salary. Remember this. Gross salary is the total of salary plus perquisite plus profit in lieu of salary. Out of gross salary, you deduct deduction under section 16. Whatever remains, that is called as income from salary. This is the first head of income. This is the first head of income. Next, what is entertainment allowance? As already explained, entertainment allowance at the first instance is should include in the salary, as already explained. Okay, I told you the salary is to be entertainment allowance is to be taken in the first head salary first. Okay. Only the government employee can claim this deduction. Remember this point. Entertainment allowance is allowable deduction to a government employee, not for the private employees. For non-government employee, entertainment allowance is not a exempted allowance. Okay. So first condition you have to fulfill is the government employee. First requirement is government employee. Only government employee can claim the deduction under section 16 subsection 2 in respect of entertainment allowance, and the entertainment allowance is eligible for deduction subject to the list of the following conditions. There are three conditions. You have to note down the three conditions, then list of the three is exempted. Okay. About this, you remember the thing. First, the entertainment allowance you take in the salary. Okay. And in the gross total income, while deducting in the gross total income, conditions used. See the conditions. The first condition is employee must be a government employee. If government employee is there, you allow it. Otherwise, no. And what are the three conditions? The three conditions are: you take the actual entertainment allowance received. First is actual entertainment allowance received. Second is maximum rupees 5,000. Sorry, 20% of salary. Second point is 20% of salary. Salary means only basic salary. Remember this point. Salary means basic salary only is to be considered, not the total salary or salary plus DA. These will not be considered. Only basic salary you have to take. You take the basic salary, 20% of basic salary. Second point. And third point is maximum rupees 5,000. Okay. First, you take actual allowance received. Second, you take 20% of basic salary. And third, you take 5,000 rupees. Whichever is less is exempted. Out of these 3 points, the least is exempted. Okay, the least amount is exempted. This is the point regarding entertainment allowance. Any doubt about this? In every problem or in some problems of salary, this point comes. Okay. And regarding professional tax or tax on employment, there is a direct information. Okay. Monthly monthly professional tax or yearly tax on employment will be given to you people. You take that amount directly. There is no calculation for professional tax and tax on employment. Okay. About the entertainment allowance, you have to follow the rules and regulations. Clear? Whichever is less is eligible for deduction. Sorry, this is not 5,000. I've taken simply 5,000. That is not 5,000. Remember this. Next is tax on employment. Tax on employment means it is the full amount of professional tax is eligible for deduction. I already explained it. You may be government employee or non-government employee. Okay. Now I come to the point rent-free accommodation. Rent-free accommodation. What is rent-free accommodation? This is a perquisite. I'll take the points one by one. Yes, any problem? Rent-free accommodation is a perquisite. Okay, how to calculate this rent-free accommodation? The value of rent-free accommodation, all the employees are classified into two categories. The total employees are classified into two categories. One is government employee, another is non-government employee. You have to classify the employee into government and non-government. Regarding rent-free accommodation value purpose. Okay. The government employees means employees of the central government, state government or local governments. Non-government means the employees who are not serving, not in the government sector. Okay. Then about the government employee, how to calculate the rent-free accommodation? How to calculate the rent-free accommodation? In the calculation of rent-free accommodation, the house is also classified into two. One is furnished house, another is unfurnished house. Furnished house, unfurnished house. What is furnished house and what is unfurnished house? A house along with all the furniture is called as furnished house. If the house is not having any furniture, if there is no furniture in the house, that is called as unfurnished. Okay. Furnished house, unfurnished house. There are two categories. In the employee, there are two. One is government, another is non-government. And about the house, furnished house, unfurnished house. Clear? Furnished house, unfurnished house. Furnished house means there are certain furnitures in the house. Unfurnished means there is no furniture in the house. Okay. Then the house is unfurnished. Unfurnished house is provided. Unfurnished house is provided by the employer to employee. Then how to value it for the government employee? For the government employee, rent fixed by the government as per rules. As per the government rules, rent fixed to that building is the value of perquisite. Okay. For example, in Nippani, government buildings are there. Okay, government buildings are there, and building is given to Tahsildar and other department employees, state government employees. Okay, then that house is unfurnished. As per the government rate, the income tax department value the house. For example, as per the government rate, building rent is rupees 2,000 per month. Okay, government rate of rent is 2,000 per month. Then annual value of that building is 2,000 into 12. 24,000 is called as value of that unfurnished house. Okay, this is regarding unfurnished house. Clear? I'm giving the example of this Nippani itself. Let us consider in the Nippani there are government buildings, and as per the government rent is already fixed by the state government. Okay, then those buildings are given to government employees, for example, Tahsildar or education officer, or for the PWD officer or someone. Okay. Then if the rent building is without furniture, then how to value it? You take the rent as per the government rate. Clear? Then second is furnished accommodation. Furnished accommodation means the house is having full furniture. You remember what is furniture? Okay, anybody tell me? The house is furnished. As according to your knowledge, you tell me what do you mean by furnished house? What is the requirement in the house? Huh? Fan is required. Okay, good. Next. Then what is required? Huh? Fan is required. I agree with your statement. Then what is the next? What is the next requirement? Huh? What is required? Yes. Come on, tell me. I want to know what about furniture. What is required? Yes, yes. Huh? Dining table is required. Okay. Next, what is required? Dining table is required in the dining hall, and in the general hall, sofa set is required, fan is required, and everything is required. Okay. In the dining hall, dining table is required. In the general hall, whatever furniture, chairs, and tables are required, that should be provided. And what is required in the kitchen? Kitchen furnitures. Okay. You have to provide. What is the kitchen furniture? What is required in the kitchen? Huh? All is required. Remember that. Okay, one example I will give you, only fridge. Okay, fridge is required. Fridge is a furniture according to income tax rules. Remember this point. Okay, that's why I'm telling you, furniture, according to your knowledge, you say that furniture means table and chair is the furniture. not the fan, not the fridge, not the stove. Okay. In the kitchen, what are the requirements in the kitchen? All the requirements in the kitchen should be provided. What are the requirements in the dining hall? All should be provided. And general all requirements should be provided. Then it is called as well furnished house. Okay. This is the point you remember. Then regarding this, how to value that? Let us consider the building is government building. And in that building, Tahsildar is resided. Then what is the value of the building as per income tax authority? First, you calculate the value at the rate of government. Okay, you take the rent as per the government rate and add 10% of the cost of furniture. Add 10% of the cost of furniture. 10% of cost of furniture, and total is called as value of furnished house. If furniture is taken on the rental basis, you add rent of the furniture instead of 10%. This is the point you remember regarding furnished house. Furnished house value is to be made on the basis of rent as per the government rate, add 10% of cost of furniture or higher charges of the furniture. This is the valuation based on furnished accommodation. Clear? Okay, thank you. We'll see the remaining point in the next class.